So today, the topic we're going to be covering is a chief executive officer. Now the reason this topic is what I'm going to be covering is because eventually I plan on becoming a chief executive officer. What is a chief executive officer is the most senior corporate executive or administrative officer in charge of an organization. Now, why do I want to become a chief executive officer? Some of the highlights that are coupled with being a chief executive: salary, number one. I guess that would be the biggest thing in the state of Ohio. The average salary for a chief executive officer actually starts around $120,000. So if money is the motivator, then that would be a huge highlight. Another highlight would actually be leadership. You get to show by example. You get to lead a group of individuals into the promised land, so to speak. Trust. You build trust. You build respect. Knowledge, and also decision making. You are in charge of an organization, an entire organization. You are making the critical executive decisions for an entire organization or for an entire company. One thing that needs to be understood is leadership requires key qualities that permits one to direct large or small groups. Some of these qualities are respect, humility, integrity, leadership, knowledge, and I'll even throw in being inspirational and being very empathetic. One chief executive that just really stands out in the entire world is actually Steve Jobs. Steve Jobs revolutionized the entire tech industry. With Steve Jobs being the example utilized here, I had to ask myself, did he hold these key qualities? Did he hold the quality of respect, humility, integrity, leadership, knowledge, being inspirational, and was he empathetic? The biggest quality, or should I say the best quality that Jobs did hold, was his knowledge. His credibility came with that knowledge. Again, he revolutionized the entire tech industry based off of his entire knowledge of what he knew. So once you know the how of something and the why of something, people will generally tend to follow you. This goes back to the leadership aspect. Steve Jobs was a leader. He revolutionized the tech industry. Thus, we have Apple. I have an iPhone. Several individuals in this world have iPhones today because of Steve Jobs, because of his revolutionary tactics, because of his vision, because of his leadership, because of his knowledge. Another example that actually sticks out is if one individual holds the same qualities of Jobs, or as Steve Jobs did, do you know what else could be revolutionized? What else could be revolutionized is the entire world. Just think, if leaders all had the exact same type of knowledge that Jobs had for the tech industry in any other field, whether it be being altruistic, whether it being giving, whether it being empathetic, inspirational, if there was knowledge to be had, and they encapsulated that knowledge into a key area of being altruistic, one could actually revolutionize the entire world. And that actually would be congruent in a church, could be congruent in a church atmosphere. You think about a pastor, you think about a preacher, you think about all of the church names that get involved, the deacons, the bishops, etc. So the values that they are supposed to have within this church home, they could revolutionize the entire world as well. Elohim, God, values knowledge. And we see that in Hosea 4:6, where he said, "My people perish for a lack of knowledge." Humility, we read about that in Proverbs 22:4, integrity in Proverbs 11:3, and respect in Matthew 7:12, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. So if we were to take these types of qualities and revolutionize the leaders in the church with these key qualities that are stated here: respect, humility, integrity, leadership, knowledge, especially knowledge of the word. Just imagine what one could actually do with that type of ability. And when you think about it, the people that Elohim appointed to lead a nation possessed these keys also. You think about the Moseses, the Noahs, the Abrahams, the Isaacs, the Jacobs, the Christ. They all held in regard these qualities, especially empathy, compassion. That would be another key quality aspect to add to this list as well. But just think about how they revolutionized an entire nation, just the nation of Israel, and what the individuals who would be appointed today could do with these types of qualities. How this could be applied actually is basically by reflection of transformation. Being personally involved, showing the organization, showing the church, showing whatever it is that you are being an executive of, the quality of the company through the quality of its leadership. That is how you take a company, that is how you take a church, or anything that you are doing with the key qualities to the promised land. And that's where I actually cut. I want to see how much time that was. Hope it was full. I hope. Oh, yes.